In this lesson, we're going to be talking about Navbar widgets in jQuery Mobile. Now, navbars are actually pretty cool. They're a pretty interesting way of taking a normal anchor tag and turning it into something interesting. So here are 3 normal buttons. And if we go and refresh the page, that's what it looks like. If we want to turn this into a navbar, we have to do a couple of things. The first thing we have to do is put it inside of a UL. That's an unordered list here. I know that's a lot of typing there. The next thing we need to do is we need to put that unordered list inside of a div. And the third thing we need to do is we need to specify that this div should be a navbar. And we do that with data role equals navbar. You may be seeing some patterns. When we need to tell jQuery Mobile that something should act in a particular way, we use data role. That's why we're using data role content for the content area, data role header for the header area, data role page for the entire page, and data role navbar. Now in this case, using data role equals navbar, we're telling jQuery Mobile that we're going to have some syntax in here that it's going to be able to use. It expects to see an unordered list with list elements, so make sure that you use this syntax and that you put your anchor tags inside of an unordered list. We'll save that, go back over here, refresh, and that's what we end up with. So that's pretty simple. jQuery Mobile will count the number of list elements and it'll divide the space evenly. So let's say that we want a blast from the past and we want to add Alta Vista. It'll automatically change the size of these buttons to accommodate the 4th button. Now if we keep adding buttons, it'll keep making them smaller up to 6. Once you get to 6, it'll lay things out in this way, in 2 columns with however many rows it needs. And let's put one more element in there. However, if you do up to 5, it will indeed scrunch them down and make them the proper size. You have to be careful though, because some browsers, especially mobile browsers, aren't very wide. And so you want to make sure that your button text is not too long. Alta Vista might be a little bit too long inside of an iOS device. Now let's go ahead and reduce the number of items back down to 3. And let's make Google the one that's selected by default. Li class equals. Now here we're going to apply a class that jQuery Mobile applies when the button is active. And that class is UI btn active. Oh, my mistake. That UI button active should go on the anchor tag, not on the list. And there it is. So that's how you make a navbar with jQuery Mobile. Fairly simple. If you want, you can add a comment here in order to indicate that this closing div tag closes the navbar. But that's not actually too important to the computer, that's just for yourself. Now, if by chance you want to take this navbar and put it in the header instead, you are completely welcome and free to do that. Just make sure that you do it after any buttons or any headers. Otherwise, it might not come out the way you want it. And sure enough, it themes itself in the same way as the header is themed. You can find more information about theming things in the section on theming. Additionally, if you choose, you can put that navbar inside of your footer. And that looks very good. Now you may have noticed that these anchor tags do not have data role equals button. And that's because being exactly where they are, it's implied that they're buttons. If you put them other places, they're going to be normal hyperlinks. But if you put them inside of list elements, inside of a div with the data role of navbar, jQuery Mobile is going to know that they're supposed to be buttons in the navbar and not just normal links. Now that we're thinking of these as buttons, you can go ahead and add all of the fantastic attributes that we can add to buttons in order to add icons, custom icons, position the icons, all of that. Now, if you put all of these tools together, you can create some pretty beautiful designs. For example, if you made this footer fixed positioning, and you gave each of these buttons an icon maybe on the top, that could look very, very nice. That wraps up this lesson on Navbar widgets.